We all might have heard this saying that the best way to overcome your fears is to face it. But when you're feeling grappled by that fear, it might feel a bit difficult for you to figure out how to get started. And that is exactly what we are going to discuss in today's video. Hi guys, this is Danya Ashokan and welcome to yet another video of Finding Home in Yourself. In today's video, we are going to look at a 5-step process that you can use to overcome and master your fears. So, let's get started. The first step in the process is to stop resisting fear. Understand that fear is only a natural protective mechanism that is only trying to keep you safe. It is only a temporary emotion, which is an energy in motion that is somehow trying to keep you safe. So, accept fear as normal as the first step whenever you try to do something new, and then embrace fear. Allow yourself to feel the emotion of the fear. Allow the energy to move through your system. Feel it while remembering the truth of who you are. When you are able to look at fear without identifying with it, that is when you are able to start the process of mastering your fears. So the first step is just to accept fear and embrace it as a natural protective mechanism. You don't have to resist it in any way. It is not the truth of who you are. It is just a temporary emotion that you're feeling whenever you try to do something new, or whenever you try to do something that your subconscious perceives to be a bit risky. We don't have to fear fear. We don't have to resist it. We just have to observe what this emotion is trying to communicate, disidentify from it, and then try to find your own path to move beyond it. Once you have been able to observe your fears without identifying with it, that is a good time for you to move into the second step of the process. And the second step of the process is for you to list down all of your fears. In this step, you will list down each of your fears and also note down what are the worst possible scenarios that you're associating with each of those fears. And once you have listed down your worst possible scenarios, to each of those scenarios, you'll ask the question, so what? So for example, if your biggest fear is that you will fail in an examination that you're preparing for, or an interview that you're preparing for, and the worst possible scenario that you have listed in front of that fear is that you will fail, then you have to ask yourself, so what? And suppose the answer that comes to my mind is that I'm worried that I will not be able to get the job that I desire, then I'll again ask myself, so what? And then suppose the answer that comes to my mind is that I'm worried that I'll not be successful in my life, then again ask yourself, so what? And then you keep questioning yourself till you get to the bottom of it. So suppose your worst fear is that you will die, then again ask yourself, so what? So if you die, basically depending on your belief system, you might either just merge back with your source, or you might just reincarnate into another body and then go through the life process again. But once you are able to think about the worst possible outcome and still not feel defeated and still convince yourself that you're still going to be okay, that is when you are ready to move into the next step of the process. And the next step of the process is to shift your focus onto the positive outcomes possible from this particular situation. So irrespective of what situation you are facing, there are a wide range of outcomes that are possible in every situation that we face, right? You might come out to be the best possible performer in that particular examination, or in that particular job interview, or in life in general. Or as you worry, you might not succeed in the exact way that you define. But there are also an n number of possibilities in between. And if you can focus on any of these possibilities that make you feel good, that will help you shift your energy and take the actions necessary to bring out the results that you're desiring. Failure is one possibility, success is another possibility, and there are an n number of possibilities in between. What we create in our life depends on the possibilities that we are going to focus on. Now that we have looked into the worst possible scenarios and convinced ourselves that we are still going to be okay, we are no longer going to worry about these scenarios, or we are no longer going to focus our attention on those scenarios. Instead, we are going to look at all these possible scenarios that are going to bring us a lot of joy and a lot of happiness and success and abundance that we desire into our life. So this inner work will help us be okay with the worst possible outcomes and now fully focus on the best possible outcomes in this particular scenario. Now that we have done the inner work and we feel ready to face the scenarios, it is a good time for you to get into the third step of the process. The third step in the process is for you to visualize the whole situation playing out exactly as you want it to be. Which means that you would rehearse the whole situation mentally, visualize yourself giving that particular examination or that interview or whatever your dreams are, and then seeing yourself as coming out on the other end as victorious or as someone who has successfully received whatever your desires are. The idea here is nothing but to train yourself to face the fear. So you would imagine going into this particular situation, facing it and coming out of it victorious. One powerful technique that could really complement this visualization process is to train yourself to normalize whatever your desires are. So when you are visualizing yourself in that particular desired reality, you would also consciously remind yourself and your entire nervous system to breathe normally and then regulate your nervous system while you are visualizing. So that will basically send your subconscious mind a message that whatever you're desiring is natural and normal for you to have it. And once you feel really comfortable about your desires in your entire being, that is when you can go ahead and move into the next step of the process. The fourth step in the process is for you to actually physically expose yourself to those particular situations that you're scared of. So if your biggest fear is about giving a particular examination, this is when you would start taking some mock tests or practice tests for these examinations. Or if you are someone who's scared of giving a particular interview, this is when you would start giving mock interviews and start putting yourself in those situations so that you can start rehearsing or training yourself on how you want to perform on those particular situations. And you don't need to make big leaps here. You can start little by little and make progress and move forward. For example, if you're a student and you're preparing for an upcoming exam, you can start by giving mock tests of smaller topics that you are really comfortable with and start building from there. And if you're someone who is preparing for an interview, then this is a stage where you would start giving mock interviews and start putting yourself out there just to train yourself and how you want to perform in those particular situations. And once you have successfully completed the first 4 steps in the process, this is when you would have to a great extent trained yourself to face this particular fear of yours. And that is when we would move into the 5th step in the process. And the 5th step in the process is for you to actually face the fear. Now that you have recognized that fear was just an emotion and stopped identifying with that fear and trained yourself in every possible way to face this fear, this is the time for you to perform. And the key factor in this particular step is for you to focus in the present moment. All the steps that you took so far was only preparing you for this moment. And in this moment, you have to stay fully vigilant and fully present about everything that is happening in this particular situation. This is the time for you to focus entirely on your performance. This is where you would implement everything that you have learned in the previous steps of the process. All the strategies that you found to be very effective during your mock interviews or your mock tests, all those things you would implement here. You would be really aware and you would fully focus on whatever that is going on in the present moment by tackling it one moment at a time. And in this moment, you will not focus on the past or the future. You will not think about the possible outcomes from the scenario. You will not look at what your past performances were. You would entirely come out of the past and future thinking and focus your attention purely in this present moment. All the preparations that you did so far was for this moment. So this is the moment where you would perform without any inhibitions, without any fears, and then just give it your best shot. That's it. You should also be willing to be very flexible at this moment. So for example, if you had adopted a particular strategy, but based on the reactions that your interviewer is giving, you see that that particular strategy is not working, this is where you would need to be really aware and adopt your plan B or the other strategies that you had in your mind. Similarly, if you are giving an exam and you had expected the exam to go in a particular way, but seeing the questions, you are understanding that it's not exactly as you expected it to be, this is where you would be super flexible, reassess the situation and come up with the next best possible solution. You don't need to overthink any of this in advance. All you need to do is make sure that you're fully being present with that present moment. You would not pay attention to any other thoughts except from solving the problem that is immediately in front of you. That's it. And following these 5 steps, you would have given your best shot to face that particular situation, no matter what the outcome is. No matter what the outcome of the situation is going to be, you can feel proud about yourself for having given it your best shot, for conquering your fears or facing your fears, and for consistently believing in yourself and putting in the effort required to give yourself the best chance. Because many people would not have even had put the effort for them to move towards your desires, but you did. And the very fact that you chose to believe in yourself is going to help you have a wonderful relationship with yourself in the rest of your life journey. And now it's just a matter of time. If this particular situation didn't exactly pan out the way you wanted it to, don't worry, because nothing in this universe is ever a waste. And if everything goes out exactly the way you planned it to, then there'll be a wonderful bonus for you to be even more happier. And if not, worry not, because delays are not denials. Remember that it's not the end until you win, and rejection is never about your worthiness, it's only about being a right fit. So if it was not this particular opportunity, then another opportunity that fits you perfectly will find its way towards you. So affirm in the chat below, it's never the end until I win. It's never the end until I win. And the best way for you to find out if this process actually works is for you to implement it and find out for yourself if it works. So implement it and share your experience in the comment section below. Also, do share this video with someone who is facing a particularly challenging situation in their life. If you like this video, do hit the like button below and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. Wishing you the very best in your journey of overcoming your fears. Until next time, take care and bye.